What is going on, guys? This is Richie here once again from the Recliner Films, and today I am bringing you my spoiler-filled X-Men Apocalypse movie review. So if you haven't seen this film, I highly suggest you go do so, come back, watch my reviews, and then you guys can, further appreciate my review, and then we can discuss it a little bit more and all that stuff, a little bit more in depth. So, anyways, without further ado, I am assuming that you all have left. If not, I'll give you another brief moment. Let me just, while you X out of this video. Okay, I hope you're gone. So anyways, X-Men Apocalypse starts right off the bat. A lot of action in this movie. And by action, I mean, it was kind of, to me at least, it felt like it was sort of pushing the boundaries a little bit of a PG-13 movie. In terms of, a lot of people got squashed in this movie. At least in, like, the first opening act. Just a lot of bone breaking and just crumpling and squishing and people getting absolutely decimated. So the movie starts off, there's this whole ritual going on in like ancient Egypt and stuff like that, and what they're trying to do is transfer this old being or likeness of Apocalypse into this younger version, and you got your four horsemen of the Apocalypse, and these are the first, I guess, adaptations or interpretations or first of their kind mutants. So, of course, just as you would nowadays, people back then, they were like, well, I don't really know how I feel about these mutants, King Tut. And he's like, oh, I'll figure out what I can do. So, they do whatever. So their whole operation kind of gets, I guess, squandered, if you will. So the four horsemen, they're trying to scramble to protect Apocalypse while he's being transferred into this younger version, and all sorts of stuff is popping off, and it was an interesting way for them to showcase the four horsemen of the Apocalypse and then also writing them off, because when I heard that Magneto, Storm, Psylocke, and Angel were going to be the four horsemen of the Apocalypse, I was like, why? But it makes perfect sense, as, how they did it, at least. So they wrote them off, and then that's how Apocalypse was able to rally up these other mutants and be like, I want you, and you, join me, blah, 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 whatever. So that was kind of interesting how they did that, and, of course, this movie takes place, a couple years back, taking place after X-Men Apocalypse. Days of Future Past. Whoops. And so it shows, younger versions of the X-Men that we all know and love. So we have Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, and then, we get a lot of the recurring people from X-Men First Class and X-Men Days of Future Past, like, James McAvoy as Professor Xavier, we got Michael Fassbender as Magneto, etc., etc. Right off the bat, and even one of my good friends said this too, she wasn't sold on Miss Game of Thrones as Jean Grey. Jean Grey kind of has, I don't really know how to explain it, I guess kind of like sex appeal almost, if you will, and she has this sort of mysterious type personality almost, to a sense, and it's like she doesn't exude that as well as, at least not nearly as well as Famke Janssen, excuse me if I'm botching that name, has in the previous installments of the X-Men films. So I was like, I don't know, maybe, the trailers are kind of misleading and stuff like that. So once the movie actually starts and she's introduced, etc., etc., I was totally on board. I was like, yeah, she's not doing it for me. Everyone else was fine, but I don't know. It just seemed like she wasn't getting good enough direction, at least. Or, I don't know. Something was off. Something wasn't clicking. But I digress. That's, nothing but a minor complaint. It's whatever. So, Apocalypse, he comes back, and, he's trying to round up some people to be his four horsemen or whatever. The way that was done was one of my biggest complaints, because this movie had some pacing issues, whereas, the whole setup to him recruiting some of these mutants, it was a bit slow. And, I can kind of understand why, because it had to introduce these characters that we haven't seen before. I mean, we've seen Angel in X-Men Last Stand, but, I guess that movie was kind of just scrubbed out of X-Men history from Days of Future Past, which this movie, you did so many good things. Thank you. So, I guess I can kind of see why it took a little long. However, I guess in a way it sort of felt shoehorned. I feel like some of it could have been cut out, but it is what it is. And what was the deal with Psylocke? No. Better yet, what happened with Jubilee? It was like she had 3 lines and then the rest of her stuff was cut out. One of the stuff that was cut out from the movie that was obviously absent that we saw in the trailers was the scene where they were in the mall, which I guess, it's kind of a throwaway scene. I don't know how much character development or how much importance that would have played to the overall movie. So it is what it is, but it was like Psylocke was Psylocke. She was just there. She was, okay, yeah, I'm pretty and I can also kick your butt type stuff. It was just like, whatever. Olivia Munn, I'm familiar with her from all the way back from Attack of the Show on G4 TV when G4 TV was good. Her and Kevin Pereira, she's a ball. She's, she has tons of charisma and everything like that, so she's found lots of success. Kudos to her. Was she anything like groundbreaking, I guess? No, not really. Character was just there. The actress who played Storm didn't do much for me either. I don't really know why Storm was one of the the 4 Horsemen. It is what it is. Angel was just there to be Angel. And Magneto probably had one of the best character and story arcs I've ever seen in this movie. Not to mention the fact that Michael Fassbender absolutely murdered that scene. Absolutely brilliant work by that man. I'm like sitting there and I'm gripping my seat and I'm trying not to let the man tears flow 'cause I'm a man. Oh my god, that was a phenomenal scene. It was just like, I knew it was coming, and then when it happened, it's still kind of shocking, but the way that he acted, his acting in that scene was in the direction. Incredible. Incredible. And that was like his turning point. He's like, you know what? F you humans. Blah. And he just, goes not totally berserk, but, he loses it. That was absolutely amazing. Apocalypse. A lot of people had a lot of complaints about this man. Ever since John Flickster over at the Flick Pick said this, and then I've been saying it to everyone else, and then it kind of just blew up. He looked like Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers film. Those of you who are old enough will know what I'm talking about. I am not going to explain it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. But, yeah, a lot of people were complaining about it. And I was kind of on the fence about it. I was like, okay, in some shots he looks cool, some shots he doesn't. Overall, Oscar Isaac, fantastic job. And it was a very, not subtle thing, but it was something really cool that they did with Apocalypse was with his voice. Every time he talked, it was kind of, not like soothing, but he kind of sounded like Marlon Brando, but then it got to like this sort of like demon type almost like voice, if that makes any sense. So it was really cool. Like whenever he had like a string of like long dialogue, it would just change, the pitch would change, and it was really cool. I enjoyed that. And I liked his mannerisms and everything like that. He did a phenomenal job. And, oh my god, he was such an a-hole, too. He gave no cares in the world at all for anybody or anything. He was like, you, I'm gonna slice your head off. You, yours is gone too. You, I'm gonna crush you. You, I'm gonna put you inside of the sand wall. And you're gonna just stay in there and die. And you're gonna be a part of the wall. Like, he was... His character was another one of the stronger points of the film. Aside from all that stuff with the, some of the pacing issues and some of the stuff that felt a little bit shoehorned, Michael Fassbender was tremendous, especially that one scene. Oh, and then the other scene when they're at the jail cell. I won't say too much, but that was also another great scene too. And Apocalypse was very well done. I thought he was cool, especially towards the latter portions of the film when he starts to kind of showcase himself a little bit more. I feel like this movie was very expensive too, I would imagine, but some of the CG in this movie looked really good. Really good. Very top notch stuff. And, I mean, except towards, like, the latter portion of the film, like the last act, there were a couple of shots that, from what I can tell, looked very green screenish. But, it's whatever. It didn't really take me out of it because, majority of it looked good, but there were just some shots where it was like, it's a green screen. Overall, though, really enjoyed this film. A lot of the acting, very well done. Some of the writing, pretty good. Some of the stuff, little shoehorn, but that's besides the point. Moving on, another huge spoiler, so if you guys really haven't seen this movie and you just spoiled all that stuff for yourself, I don't think you want to have this spoiled, because it was a very cool Easter egg. Unfortunately, if you saw one of the later trailers or the last trailers, it kind of got spoiled for you. Thankfully for my friend, she didn't get it spoiled for her, so I don't know if it was a big surprise to her. But Wolverine comes out. They get taken, Cyclops, Jean, Nightcrawler, and Quicksilver, which he had a really cool scene. I don't think it was as good as his scene in Days of Future Past, in my opinion. However, I think his scene towards the end where he fights Apocalypse was much better than that bigger scene that they gave him in the earlier part of the film. My opinion. However, so they get transported to Stryker's Island. Yes, William Stryker, the guy who initiated the Weapon X program on good old Logan. So, you're like, okay, hey, this is happening, so is this going to coincide with this? And sure enough, it does. So, they end up breaking Logan out of his little jail cell, and he has the whole gear from the comic. He has that headgear and then that, whatever, and like his hair was all crazy and his beard. Hugh Jackman was like a freaking wild animal. It was so cool to see that interpreted on film, and then he's just slicing and dicing people, and there was a little bit more blood and stuff like that here, and hopefully we'll get a lot more of that, because Wolverine 3, or as it's apparently titled, Weapon X, is supposed to be rated R. So hopefully we get to see, Wolverine shred some people and guts are exploding all over the place. That's the Wolverine I want to see. And we did get that in the X-Men Origins game on the PlayStation 3, because it was rated M, but I digress. So he's causing all types of chaos, and, our beloved X-Men, they get to escape or whatever. And then Logan and Jean have this sort of brief moment, so it kind of foreshadows that their relationship later on, or, from the previous films and stuff like that. So that was a really cool nod. And then, of course, after the end of the movie, towards the end of the movie, we get to see a brief glimpse of Jean and her Phoenix powers, which I believe that that's the direction that they're going in the next X-Men film, if I'm not mistaken. So after the end and all that good stuff, we get to the end credit sequence, the after credit sequence, I should say. And, we see this whole Essex Corp briefcase and, the logo and stuff like that. So that's pointing in the direction of Mr. Sinister. So I'm wondering if they're going to have, like, or at least a variation of, like, the whole costume and stuff like that, in the next X-Men film. Because, the X-Men films have been known to kind of, like, not be bizarre, but, they can get away with some of the more, like, crazier looking mutants and stuff like that, if that makes any sense. So I'm curious to see if they do kind of go all out with Mr. Sinister, or, just to see where that goes. So it should be interesting. I enjoyed this film. Overall, I'd probably give it about a 7.5 out of 10. Just some of the pacing issues and some of the stuff that I felt were a little bit shoehorned. There was some, I don't want to say casting mistakes or whatever, but I don't know, there just wasn't some good direction, at least, for certain characters, in my opinion. It is what it is. Overall, I enjoyed the movie. Would I see it again? I don't know. I'm not sure. It's been out for quite a while as of this recording. But will I buy it on Blu-ray? Absolutely. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of, like, deleted and alternate scenes, or perhaps even an alternate ending. I doubt it. But, I'm sure there's going to be a whole bunch of deleted stuff. And the behind the scenes on the X-Men films are always a bunch of fun, just to see some of the stuff that they do, and I like how they really do implement a lot of practical stuff with CGI. So a lot of it looks good. Case in point with First Class, that was one of like the better looking X-Men films, how they implemented a lot of practical effects with CGI. When a movie does that very good, it looks great. Overall, those are my thoughts on X-Men Apocalypse. If you guys enjoyed the film or had any issues with it, let me know in the comment section down below what your favorite parts of the movie were, what were your least favorite parts. Share this video on Facebook, Twitter, whatever social media platform that you guys use. Don't forget to favorite this video and like it, please. Let's try and get anywhere between 5 to 10 likes. That would be great. That would be awesome. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button so you can know whenever we upload a new movie review or Blu-ray review or one of our films, which if you're not aware, we have a fan film coming up based on the Arrow TV series. We have a 15-second teaser trailer. We're going to have a full official trailer soon, and then hopefully, we'll have the actual full film coming quite soon for you guys. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. If you're interested, hit that subscribe button. And in the description box down below, I'll leave our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so if you feel like following us on there, go right ahead. As well as our gaming channel. We have a gaming channel. It's about, as of this recording, of course, 237 subscribers. If you guys are interested in cool gaming and live streaming and all that good stuff, make sure you check out that channel. Link will be in the description box down below. That's pretty much it for now. I have nothing else left to say. I'm super thirsty, so I'm going to get some water. And I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.